monsters hiding in closets and eating our young. Horrifying fables of Bigfoot, the abominable snowman, and grotesque creatures. Well, that's the bedtime story anyway. In this revealing paranormal TV one-on-one, Professor of Anthropology C. Scott Littleton believes that not only society and culture, but oral tradition plays a critical role in the culmination of frightening tales of fiends and monsters.
Monsters have been a part of human folklore and mythology, again, probably from the beginning. We've always had this concern with with something that is inherently different and potentially a threat. In children's lore, there's what some of us call the MUB, the monster under the bed. And I have a former student who's collected this, and it's an ongoing tradition, the kid who thinks that there's something. And this is a micro version of what human beings have been concerned with for tens of thousands of years. Are there objective origins for monsters? Possibly. I happen to be one of those who think that myths and folk tales and legends do not come totally out of nothing. They're usually triggered by something, and you have to work your way through, sort of excavate, to try to find something, find the source of it. For monsters, we may be talking about some inherent other. For example, I have a theory, and it's a theory. It's really very hard to test, but and this is shared by a number of my colleagues, that we human beings have antipathy to reptiles. And I think this is part of our primate inheritance. We took it with us 5 million years ago. It goes back to the point where we were arboreal creatures living, say, going back to the Oligocene, going way, way back in geologic time, where our prime predator was the serpent, the snake that would climb up and eat the young. And the serpent is, in a lot of areas, say, of South America, the serpent is still a prime predator, say, for the rhesus monkey and so on. So I think this is part of our primate inheritance, and I think it's no accident that a lot of our monsters are reptilian. Now, culture is a marvelous thing. Culture can override this. Every society for which we have any evidence other than purely archaeological, purely tools and artifacts, we find evidence of storytelling, as you call it. People everywhere try to make sense out of their surroundings or out of their environment by shared narratives about the nature of the world, particularly about where things come from. In a very simple society, a society without the technology to have a very elaborate and empirical database, still need to understand where things come from. We're a curious species, and if we can't come up with what we would today call a rational answer, we'll invent one. And we've been doing it for millennia, through metaphors, through saying, okay, what is the sun? Well, it's a chariot being driven by a shining god from east to west. It answers the question. It may not be accurate in terms of the way we now know the world works, but it does, in fact, fill the vacuum.